Hi everyone, I'm Megan Rounds and welcome to Mindset Monday. Normally, I would talk about a mindset related topic with some presentation slides and offer some quick tips and easy applications to help you make a change in your day or maybe your life. This week, however, I'm going to offer a story, a personal story based on an experience I had last week and for several weeks before then that I thought might be beneficial to the topic of the week, which is finding your joy. And actually, this topic will extend beyond this week for the whole month of December, because I think that there are a lot of things that we can talk about from a mindset perspective about how to find our joy. The story I'm going to tell you is something I first wrote out and would prefer to read because I'm just better at telling this type of story from words that I've written than impromptu. So I hope you'll forgive me that my eyes become diverted at times. But I thought that the information within the story was important enough to warrant reading instead of potentially missing half of the points like I often do when I'm speaking off the cuff. So here goes. A strange thing happened to me a month or so ago. I lost my joy. It wasn't obvious at first, staying serious while others laughed at jokes or something cute on Facebook or YouTube. Even-keeled temperament, which is definitely not my norm. I felt like I was looking through the eyes of a zombie, minus the lust for blood, thank goodness, going through the motions but without any emotion. I was a cardboard box waiting to be recycled. I was stale air, stuck in a holding pattern for nothing in particular. This isn't to say I wasn't doing anything. In fact, it may have been a whirlwind change that prompted this loss of joy. And the funny thing is, there were aspects of this change that I liked, but the bigger picture of the change created so much change that it's like I didn't have time to savor any of it. And some things were caught up in my newfound crunch for time, and because I wasn't all that prepared, I experienced more than my usual amount of stress. Great, I told myself when I had no Mindset Monday prepared the Monday before Thanksgiving. Way to model consistency. That was the nice part of what I said. The not so nice stuff was more like, you have a model about transition, which you clearly haven't used for this change. Good way to practice what you preach. And with a mindset like this, not even Scrooge would take any advice from you. And then the usual, I'm a failure, what's the point, why bother anyway, nobody cares, downward spiral into the depths of the negative Nellie and Debbie Downer twins world. That, my friends, was where I stayed until Thanksgiving Day, when I found myself crying in the shower just before my family and I headed to dinner at our neighbor's house, which, as an aside, was a fantastic Thanksgiving dinner and wonderful company. So thank you so much, Mark and Beth. What the hell was wrong with me? As I said, I'd lost my joy. And that is the point of this week's Mindset Monday. Sometimes changes can create a sense of loss where we find ourselves without the capacity to enjoy what used to come naturally. For me, one of the big losses was around food. You see, for most of my life, I've used food for comfort. Whenever I felt stressed, emotionally vulnerable, nostalgic for old friends or traditions, or in some way neglected or victimized, there was my old friend food to save the moment. And that's really the kind of friend it was. The kind where it's there for a few minutes, runs up the check, and then leaves you with the bill. And that is also the reason for my change. I just don't want friends like that anymore. So with this big change around food came the realization of just how embedded food had become in every aspect of my life. Some of it personal, like getting the baking bug during the holidays but having no idea how to make anything because the rules have all changed. Some of it social, like figuring out how to handle Thanksgiving dinner or walking through a favorite store with my daughter, getting more and more annoyed by the strong scent of the bakery items I know are intended to touch upon that nostalgia for the holidays and drive customers to the restaurant. There's a lot I can say about this food-related journey, which I'll save for another time. But suffice it to say that there is, in fact, a silver lining to this story, and that's awareness. The fact that I recognized that I had lost my joy gave me something to work with. And even if you feel a sense of loss because of something other than food, the emotions are pretty much the same, and they're really all related to the grieving process. Gaining awareness that we're obscured by the clouds is the first step to finding the sunny side of life. Unlike other Mindset Mondays, where I offer a few quick tips, today I'm going to offer just one. If you notice you have lost or are losing your joy, start noticing what creates joy for you. If possible, make a list, because you can reference it again in the future, And that's what I call creating your own guide to solace, which is something I'm pulling together as a free gift, so stay tuned for information about that in the future. Once you've made your list, the next step is really simple. Do more of what brings you joy. You know the old adage, do what you love and the rest will follow. Well, I've tweaked that a bit to do what brings you joy, and you bring more joy into what you do. It's easy to come up with a zillion reasons for putting those things that bring us joy or makes us happy at the end of the line. And that will be the focus of next week's Mindset Monday. So make sure to subscribe to either my newsletter or my YouTube channel so you can discover how to make those things that bring you joy a higher priority in your life. That's it for this week. I'd love to hear your comments on the topic as well as on this format change. If you prefer the old format, that's fine. It's easy to bring it back. I'd really just like to hear one way or the other whether this works or the other works or both or neither and why. So please let me know, as well as if this resonated with you. I'd really love to hear from you. So thanks for listening, and may the joy be with you. Have a great week.